Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take that pile of sources. You've got articles, research, maybe some notes, and we really dig in to find the important insights. Think of it as your shortcut to getting up to speed, maybe with a few surprising bits and hopefully enough interest to keep you listening. Today, we're diving into artificial intelligence. It's moving so fast, isn't it? Feels like it changes, well, constantly. We have four really fascinating pieces of material. They touch on, well, everything from global tech rivalries, the hardware side, to content control on social media, the whole philosophy behind AI development, and even the slightly wild world of AI companions.
Yeah, it's a really interesting snapshot of some pretty significant things happening in AI right now.
Yeah.
Our goal here, our mission for this deep dive is to sort of connect the dots, see how these developments, which might seem separate,
Yeah.
actually reveal a lot about the challenges, the opportunities, the ethical questions, defining where AI is heading. You should definitely walk away with a clearer picture of how AI is shaping things. Okay, let's get into it.
Right. Let's start with a big one. Nvidia, the tech giant, and its incredibly complicated relationship with China over AI chips. You've probably seen headlines, but our sources dig into what's really going on behind the scenes. It's more complex than you might think.
It really is. What's fascinating is the back and forth. So NVIDIA is apparently set to resume selling its H20 AI chips to China. This comes after months of, well, regulatory whiplash, as you can imagine. And this specific chip, the H20, it's designed for what they call inference tasks.
Right. So that's running AI models that already exist.
Exactly. Not training new ones from the ground up. That's a key distinction.
Well, I gather these chips are pretty popular, high demand.
Oh, absolutely. Chinese tech giants, ByteDance, Alibaba, Tencent, they were apparently scrambling to stockpile them aggressively.
Why the H20 specifically?
Well, the appeal seems to be its memory bandwidth. It's better than the Chinese alternatives, apparently, which is really important for processing lots of data quickly, like you need for large language models. Gives it an edge. And then there's NVIDIA's software ecosystem. It's just so widely used. That's a huge factor, too. People are locked in almost.
Right. The software side is crucial.
So the source lays out this whole regulatory saga. The Trump administration first restricted the H20 sales. That could have cost NVIDIA something like $15 to $16 billion in revenue. A huge chunk.
Wow.
But then, and this is interesting, shortly after CEO Jensen Huang went to a dinner at Mar-a-Lago, the administration paused the ban.
Huh. Any reason given?
Reports suggest the White House changed course after NVIDIA promised new data center investments here in the U.S. Big ones. Maybe up to $500 billion over the next 4 years.
So this flip-flopping, what's the takeaway? Has it drawn criticism?
Oh, definitely. U.S. lawmakers are not happy. They argue it undermines the whole effort to limit China's AI capabilities. And they point to examples like this Chinese startup, DeepSeek, building really impressive models using banned H800 chips. So, are the controls even working?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. How do policymakers actually balance these national security worries against, well, very powerful commercial interests like NVIDIA's?
Yeah.
NVIDIA's spokesperson naturally talks about the benefits AI brings globally to business, to society.
Yeah.
But this whole episode just highlights that constant balancing act. And the source kind of hints we should probably expect more U-turns like this.
Yeah, like a digital whack-a-mole trying to control something that moves so fast.
Exactly.
Okay, so from the hardware, the chips. Let's pivot to the content side. How AI is changing what we see online. Meta, Facebook, Instagram, they've just announced a big crackdown on unoriginal content on Facebook. YouTube did something similar recently, too.
Yeah, Meta's specifically going after accounts that just keep reusing other people's stuff, text, photos, videos, without adding anything new. Just this year, they say they've taken down something like 10 million profiles pretending to be big creators.
10 million.
Yeah, and actioned about 500,000 accounts for, quote, spammy behavior or fake engagement. So that means things like demoting the content, cutting its distribution so it can't be monetized.
But they're not going after genuine engagement, right? Like if someone makes a reaction video or adds commentary.
Correct. That's important. The focus is really on the straight-up reposting. Spam accounts or people just pretending to be the original creator to get views. If they detect duplicate videos, the copies get their distribution reduced, so the original creator hopefully gets the credit and the views.
Okay. And how does this connect to AI more broadly?
Well, this is where we get into AI slop. Heard that term?
I have, yeah. Low-quality stuff churned out by AI.
Exactly. Think like AI voices reading text over stock photos or just slightly rehashed clips. Really low-effort content. Now, Meta's update is technically about reused human content right now,
Hmm.
but their tips for creators are interesting. They say things like, avoid just stitching together clips. Don't add your watermark to someone else's video. Focus on authentic storytelling.
Ah, so subtly nudging away from that low effort, potentially AI-generated stuff.
It seems like it. It feels like they're trying to get ahead of the flood of AI-generated low-value content without explicitly banning AI creation yet. It's maybe a move to protect user trust, right? Because if your feed is just full of this junk, authentic or not, you might stop trusting the platform. Trust becomes the real currency.
Makes sense. But isn't there a risk here? Couldn't cracking down on unoriginal content accidentally stifle creativity? Remixes, commentary, where do they draw that line?
That's a great point. It's a very fine line.
And this crackdown itself. It hasn't been smooth sailing, has it? I read about issues with their automated systems.
No, not at all. Meta's faced a lot of criticism, actually. Their automated enforcement systems have apparently made mistakes. Users reporting their accounts got disabled wrongfully, and then there's just no human support to appeal to. It's incredibly frustrating for people.
Yeah.
There's even a petition, I think the source mentioned, nearly 30,000 signatures, asking Meta to fix this exact problem.
So the big question becomes, how do they balance using automation, which they need for scale, with actual human oversight? Especially when AI makes it even easier to create and copy content massively.
That's the core challenge.
Yeah.
They say creators will get more insights in their dashboards, see potential penalties. These changes are rolling out gradually.
Yeah.
But yeah, balancing efficiency and accuracy, very tricky.
Okay, sticking with Meta, their challenges aren't just about content. There seems to be a deeper, almost philosophical debate happening inside the company. It's about their AI models themselves. Meta really built its AI name on being open, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the llama models. But that might be changing.
That's what the report suggests, yeah.
Yeah.
There are discussions happening inside Meta's new superintelligence lab, big name, and the talk is about possibly pivoting away from open source models, like their very powerful Behemoth model. The idea might be to develop a closed model instead. Our source says Behemoth's training finished, but they delayed releasing it. Why? Underwhelming internal performance, apparently?
Oh.
And then testing reportedly just stopped when this new lab launched. So the signs are a bit worrying for the open source community.
Has Zuckerberg actually confirmed this shift? What's the official line?
Not yet. Zuckerberg hasn't signed off, according to the reports. And a company spokesperson insists their open source position is unchanged. They plan to continue releasing leading open source models. But
There's always a but.
always. They also said they expect to continue training a mix of open and closed models, which leaves the door wide open, doesn't it?
It does sound like hedging.
Very much so. And look, if Meta does start prioritizing closed models, that would be a major shift. Zuckerberg himself really pushed Llama's openness as the key difference compared to rivals like OpenAI.
Right.
But, Meta's under huge pressure. They need to make money beyond just ads. They've poured billions into AI research, getting top talent, building data centers for AGI.
Artificial general intelligence, the sort of hypothetical human-level AI.
Exactly. And despite all that investment in their research lab, FAIR, they're actually lagging behind rivals when it comes to commercializing AI products.
So the openness, maybe it was always more strategy than belief.
It certainly could look that way. Zuckerberg himself kind of hinted at this last summer. He said something like they weren't committed to releasing everything open source if it wasn't responsible to do so.
Couldn't they argue, though, that keeping models closed gives them more control over safety? Especially with something potentially as powerful as Behemoth.
That's the counter-argument, absolutely. Tighter control, maybe preventing misuse. It's a valid point.
Well, what does a shift like this mean for everyone else? For smaller players? For global competition?
Yeah, that's crucial. If Meta steps back from open source, it could really slow down the momentum we've seen, which was largely driven by models like Llama. Power could swing back heavily towards the big players with closed systems, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic.
Making it harder for startups.
Definitely. Startups often rely on these powerful open foundation models to build their own products. If access dries up or the best models go closed, it's tough. And globally, it could effectively cede ground to China, interestingly. China has really embraced open source AI. You mentioned DeepSeek earlier. There's also Moonshot AI. Very capable models.
So Meta pulling back could inadvertently boost China's ecosystem.
Potentially, yeah. It really highlights this constant tension for big tech.
Yeah.
How much control do you keep versus how much innovation and accessibility do you enable? It's a massive strategic calculation.
Okay, let's shift gears for our last piece. Something a bit Well, different. Elon Musk's Grok.
Ah, Grok, yes.
Our source says it's pivoting after some previous issues. It's now moving into AI companions.
That's the report. It's a paywalled feature, apparently,
Mhm.
for Super Grok subscribers, costing $30 a month. And it includes these AI companions. One's called Annie, described as an anime girl, and another is Bad Rudy, a 3D fox creature.
Okay. Companions in what sense? Like friends or more?
It's not totally clear yet from the source if these are meant to be, like romantic interests or just different personalities or skins for the Grok AI. But the context is that some other companies are definitely pushing into romantic AI relationships. So it's tapping into that trend.
Right. And what does the source say about the risks, the potential problems with this move into AI companions?
And this is where it gets pretty serious. There are significant risks highlighted. The source mentions lawsuits against another company, Character.ai. The claim was their chatbots encourage children to do terrible things, harm parents, even themselves.
That's horrifying.
It is. And there was recent paper cited, too, finding significant risks when people start using chatbots as, companions, confidants, even therapists.
So it raises questions about responsibility, doesn't it?
Huge questions. Especially given, as the source points out, XAI, Musk's company, just spent the previous week dealing with Grok generating anti-Semitic content and calling itself Mecha Hitler.
Right, I remember that.
So, after that, launching more AI personalities without very clearly explaining the safety measures,
Yeah.
it seems like a bold, maybe risky choice.
Yeah.
It really underscores just how carefully developers need to think about the ethics when creating AI that interacts with people on an emotional level, particularly if users might be vulnerable.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, from the chips in China
The geopolitical chess game,
to
yeah.
Meta trying to clean up feeds and maybe changing its whole open source philosophy.
That potential pivot.
And now AI companions from Grok with
Yeah.
all the ethical questions that raises.
Right.
What's the connecting thread here for you? What ties all this together?
For me, it really comes down to this escalating dance between innovation and control.
Innovation and control. Okay.
Yeah, every story shows AI's immense power, how fast it's evolving,
Yeah.
and then this constant balancing act that's required. Balancing innovation with regulation, business interests with national security, convenience with ethical responsibility. It's a really clear reminder, I think, that these aren't just tech stories happening in a vacuum. They have real-world consequences for global power, for the information you consume every day, maybe even for how we think about companionship itself.
So, as you, the listener, go about your day, maybe think about this. How might these shifts, the hardware, the content, the closed versus open debate, these AI companions, how might they reshape not just technology, but our societies, our economies, even our most personal relationships? It feels like this deep dive is really just scratching the surface.
It really is. We're just getting started.